We're all ready, Rabbi.
Right. The story I'm going to tell you, if a lot of people come on, I'm going to repeat it. I saw the story this morning. To me, it's an amazing story. It was Dr. David Pelkowitz from Torah Messiah was giving a shiur at the world about a year after the World Trade Center went down, so it's a while ago. And there was a convention there, and somebody came over to one of the speakers of the convention was Professor Elie Wiesel. Right, you know who Elie Wiesel is, yes?
Of course.
Okay. So he spoke there and so forth, and this older lady came over to him, and she's told him that her father was in his bunker. He was in his bunk in the camps, and he didn't know whether he would remember him, but he sends regards and how proud her father is that Elie Wiesel is doing such good things for the Jewish people, right? And then she said her father's name, and Elie was he went crazy. He said, "I'm here because of your father. Remember him. Everything I have is because of your father." And he told this story. He was in Buchenwald, right? It was in Buchenwald, and it was an exceptional, difficult day, even for Buchenwald. They were really suffering. They were really suffering, and there were a few Russians together with the Jews. And one of the Russians got himself a whole big thing of rat poisoning. And he told everybody, he said, look, he said, the Nazis are going to kill us anyhow. The Nazis are going to kill us anyhow. We might as well go on our own terms. That was the words he used. We might as well go on our own terms. So he took some rat poisoning, laid down, ate it, closed his eyes. Whoever wants, the other Russian said, whoever wants, help yourself. They lined up. He said, all the adolescent Jewish boys lined up. And Elie Wiesel said, he lined up too. It's hard to believe. He said he lined up too. He was ready to take it. It was a very, very difficult day, and it's too much for him. He's ready to take it. And Elie Wiesel said, everybody besides your father, to this woman, your father went to the side of the line, right? And then her father was a Vishnitzer Chassid. He started singing a Vishnitzer Nigun, Ani Ma'amin B'Amunah Shleima B'Bias HaMashiach Ani Ma'amin. And he sang it with all his kaichas. And believe me, people didn't have kaichas over there. He sang it not with all his kaichas, with extraordinary kaichas. He sang it, right? And he kept on singing it. And one by one, they left the line. And they went to circle around him. And Elie Wiesel left the line. And they all started singing with him. So Elie Wiesel says, "Do I know your father? If it wasn't for your father, I wouldn't be here." Is that an amazing story? It's an amazing story. I'm crying also.
It's crazy.
Crazy story. Yeah, so it's difficult, Corona is difficult. I mean, we're going through difficult things. I mean, I think I have it relatively good, right? Because I have a lot of children. They don't come into the house yet, but I can, once in a while they stop by outside with their masks and I can say hello to them. And then we had a chasna at the yeshiva. So today was the first day that I went someplace. Today was the first day I went to the Kosel, and it was unbelievable to be able to go to the Kosel. So today was the first day. But I just want to tell you I just want to tell you that after that story, you'll be able to understand this better. As a Rabbi Baruch Rabinowitz. By the way, this sefer which I'm holding now is, it's backwards. 1 second, that doesn't help. It's Living Emunah.
It shows up regular on our end.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Living Emunah 5, right? I've read all Living Emunah 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have hundreds of papers and all of them marking all spaces. And this is Living Emunah 5. I got it this morning, right? And I tell you, I opened it up, and the story I read is the story I just told you. That was the first story I opened to. I said, it's very expensive. It's hardcover, 156 shekel. I said, that one story is worth 10 times the price we paid for it, and more. And so it says over here, there's a section on the Corona, at the end, a section of Corona. So he says over here, is Rabbi Baruch Rabinowitz was trying to put Corona into perspective. So he said like this, he said, imagine what would his father-in-law, was a Holocaust survivor, what would he have said about this crisis? What would he say about what we're going through now? You know what he would have said? You are restricted where to go and how many people can congregate, right? How many people you can chasm with. But you could stay at home and be in your own bed? You mean you don't have to stay in a bunker? No ghetto? No sleeping with animals in a barn? You could go to sleep at night and expect to find yourself and your family in this same place in the morning? You have enough food in your home to survive for a few weeks? No rationing of a few grains of barley per person per day? You have fresh water to drink, and you don't need to limit it? You don't have to boil it first? You can go to the bathroom and you don't need to use a pail in the corner with other people around? You can go outside and get food and there'll be food available? You can go outside and you won't be shot dead if discovered? You can take a shower with soap, with warm water too? You have a talisman to fill in? You can pray as long and as loud as you want and not be afraid of being discovered? You could gather on your own porches and sing Kabbalah Shabbos and let it fill the whole street? That's what we do, by the way. You could have a Shabbos Suda with real chicken soup, not a little salt in water, and leave the rest to the imagination. Real fish, real challah, soft and chewy, not hard and moldy. White, not coarse black. You can get more than one slice of bread a day. You don't have to hide it from other people. You can think about making plans for the next month or even the next year and have a reasonable chance of keeping those plans. Heat, you can feel your fingers and toes when you wake up. You have air conditioning. You don't feel suffocated by the heat and the stench. You have shoes without holes, etc., etc. It goes on and on. I think by now we get the message. We get the message. Those of us who feel that we are suffering and it's hard for us and we're in pain and it's the difficult thing to take, all we have to do is to think about what our brothers, our sisters, our forefathers, what happened not so many years ago in the Holocaust. And just to think of what they went through, what we're going through, is nothing. It's nothing. It's almost nothing. Somebody was very sick with the coronavirus. He was very sick, and he heard that his Rebbe from Eretz Israel was coming to come to the States. So he tried to get a message to him that he should daven for him. This person had 102 to 104 one day after another. He was in what hospital was that? Cornell Hospital. He was hardly able to breathe. He was getting oxygen, but he couldn't breathe. 82% of the oxygen in his body. He finally got a hold of one of his friends, and he said, "Please get a hold of Rebbe," and he asked him to pray for me. And in the hospital, they weren't sure if he was going to make it through the night. They weren't sure he was going to make it through the night. They got a hold of his Rebbe. He told the Rebbe the situation. The Rebbe was holding a tehillim. He said, "I'm going to do the whole tehillim now." You do the whole tehillim the whole night. That's Rebbe davened for him. The whole tehillim. Davened the whole night. Someone came in about 3, 4 in the morning, and they said, "You're getting too much oxygen. I'm going to lower it a little bit." 5 o'clock, they said, "You don't need the oxygen anymore. You can breathe your own." By 7 o'clock, he got up, started to walk. Everybody came in and said, "This is a miracle. This is a miracle. We didn't think you were going to make it through the night. You're breathing on your own. you can stand up. This is a miracle." Unfortunately, not everybody has had such miracles, and we've had tragedies, right? I also, someone who was the very chashuv Talmid Chacham, the Rav of Yale, New Jersey, right?
Sophia and JS is awesome. Fantastic. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you.
They're very sick. Very sick. I think he was 2 months in the hospital. I think first one time he was totally unconscious, right? And we were all davening for him. And about a week and a half ago, he left the hospital. He went home. And again, everybody came out. They said it was a miracle. It's a mess. It's a miracle. And he said that it's the tefillah. It's the tefillah of the Jewish people. So the first thing that we can do, and we can always do, and we have to do, is to daven for all those that are ill, right? Every tefillah, I mentioned some people, the names of people I know that are suffering, but I ask all those that are ill with coronavirus should have a refuah shlema. And it's not pashut. There's so much we don't know about it. At first they thought it would stay on something you touch for a long time. Now they're not so sure. Nobody knows for sure. That's one of the difficult things. One of my relatives, they didn't believe he had it, and now he went to a very special professor in Lakewood, and he said it affected your lungs. I'm not sure what we could do about it, but it affected your lungs. It's crazy. I mean, we know so little about it. But if there's any message that we should get, one message is Hashem wants us to talk to Him. Hashem wants us to talk. Hashem wants our tefillas. Whether it's you're not yet davening with a minyan, or whether you are davening with a minyan. And I hope the minyan wears masks and keeps 6 feet, right, 2 meters apart, right? Because I'll tell you, Dr. Bortz, the doctor, you guys remember Dr. Bortz? If you're alumni, you remember Dr. Bortz. He told me today, I don't do anything without speaking to him first. He told me today that sometimes the difference between a mask and 6 feet is up to 80% chance of being protected. sometimes it's less, etc., but it can be sometimes that you have a better 80% chance if you're exposed to somebody if you have a mask and keep your distance. So L'chora, that's a pasha davar. It's a chiyuv of shmiras nefesh. As there's a chiyuv, L'chora is a chiyuv deraisa to do those things. Not a person, not a person, right? He said that he lost his smell. Right? He hasn't had one for 2 months. That's from Corona. That's one of the terrible things that people are suffering from. It's all mute yourself because I hear some delicious children, but I know how appropriate it is right now. Okay, thank you.
What's your mommy?
No.
Keep this all around and bring it back.
Please mute your microphones back. By accident, you have them open.
I'm trying to see who's here. Oh, Alex. Okay, good. All right. Okay, I'm beginning to see some of the people, but on my screen, it's I have to, whatever. By the way, I hope this is better. I am now using a real computer, and our modem was fixed. So now hopefully it's working.
It's a good thing to say in modem.
Yeah. Now, modem that the modem is working. Okay. Listen to this. In our days, when we see that Midas Hadin is so relevant in the world, we have to strengthen ourselves with all our might in the Midah of Chesed, so we can waken the Midah of Chesed in the Shemayim to protect us in these trying times. You hear that? In our days, when we see that the Midas Hadin is so relevant in the world, we have to strengthen ourselves in Chesed, right? Who said that? When was that said? Anyone have any idea? That was the Chofetz Chaim. And the Midas Hadin was prevalent in his days, and is prevalent today as well. What he said, we could say today. And he said like this: a day should not go by in your life where you don't perform the mitzvah of chesed. Those in need of chesed should do chesed for others. He's saying that it has to be midah keneged midah, that we have to do midah keneged midah. If we are concerned about others, we help others, we do chesed for others. We daven for all those that are ill and all those that are suffering, and all those that I didn't even mention it yet. But how many fellows lost their parnasa? Their jobs are either finished or just on hold. And they're desperate to have food for the family, to have what they need for their family. There's Midas Hadin all over today. And the Chofetz Chaim says when there is a time that Midas Hadin is so prevalent, that's a time that you have to do chesed to others. You have to do chesed to others. I sent out an email. I told some stories on the email. I told a story about a young Talmud that went and asked his Rebbe. He asked his Rebbe. He was an inquisitive Talmud. And he asked his Rebbe. He says, Rebbe, he says, I daven a very long Shemona Esrei. I have concentration, and I think about every bracha by itself. It's a very long Shemona Esrei. I don't understand, Rebbe. Yours is 10 times as long. How do you do it? What do you do? What do you do? So his Rebbe told him that when he davens a Midah, davens a Shemona Esrei, and he's coming to Moedim, thank you, Hashem. Moedim anachnu lach. He stops and he thinks about all the good things Hashem has given him. His children, his grandchildren, his home, his parnasa, his svorim, his learning. He goes through all the good things Hashem has given him. I think he said he went through all his children. I thought about the possibility of trying to do that myself, but if I would have done that, right now it's 9:00 at night here. If I'd done that in Shachris, I'd still be davening Shachris. I wouldn't be here with you, right? But my Rebbetzin had a very good idea. A very good idea. She said, you don't have to go through all your blessings. Take every Amida, every Shemona Esrei, one bracha, one blessing that Hashem has given you. One blessing. And thank Hashem for that. Right? And the truth is, I tell the fellows that if you want to have a different davening, you should also, before your davening, think about what you want to ask Hashem for. Think one thing which is really worthwhile. It could be in Gashmias, it could be in Ruchnias, right? Whatever you really want, right? If what means the most to you is that the Yankees should win with bases loaded in the 9th inning and a ball out of the field, so daven for that. Hashem wants a daven. He doesn't. Whatever we want to ask for, He wants to hear it, right? Hashem wants our davening. There was a story of somebody who said that they asked him, how was he so successful at bat? And he said he would daven to Hashem every time before the ball comes. and they said, you waste your davening on that? And then everybody told him, you're making a mistake. That's what Hashem wants. Hashem wants us to daven for the things we want. He wants us to connect, right? He wants us to connect. Anyhow, so it's good to ask, think about what you really need, what's important to you, and ask Hashem for that. And before you say Maidim, think at least about one thing that you want to thank Hashem for. One thing you want to thank Hashem for. Because if we, you fellows in the States, you're up to Pasha's Shalach, right? We're already by Korach. But if the Meraglim had stopped for one moment to think, look what Hashem did to help them. Yetzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsuf, taking him in protecting them in the midbar from the elements. It wasn't yet that long, but all the things which Hashem had done for them, they couldn't have for a moment thought that going into Eretz Yisrael, even if it means that they're going to lose their position as leaders, and even if it means that they're going to have to rely on Derech HaTeva, which is Hashem hidden instead of obvious in the Ananei Kavod and in the Mon and the. Yeah. But they should have realized, no, Hashem is with them. Hashem is going to protect them. Hashem is going to be with them. And they had that Hakoras Hatov, that Moedim Anachnu love, that thankfulness, it wouldn't have happened. So in this era, there's this Corona era where a lot of us are suffering, a lot of us are having very difficulties, a lot of us feel that we can't go any place and we can't do what we want to do. Number one, as I read, be happy. In other eras, in other times, not so long ago, the life we have now, they would have given anything to have such a life.
Hello?
No, I could go outside.
Was that David Fader singing?
No, that is my phone.
Hello?
That is my phone.
It's the Neve anthem.
if I can't answer the phone, I can appreciate a beautiful Shabbos Likadnikon, which I happen to love. So I put that on the phone as yeah. Anyhow, I
You sure it's not Joey after that call?
I don't know. It looked like it was Yerachmiel. Maybe it was Joe. Okay. Yeah, we're going to come to the end because we started this early. So I'm going to open it up to you. Do anything that you want to ask or comment, etc., etc., and just leave with a tefillah that the Kodesh Baruch Hu should help us appreciate what we need to be misakein. We need to fix up so that we can be over this difficult time, and we can see that all Klal Yisrael can gather together as we always did at simchas and at shuls and be back to themselves, right? And that isn't enough. That's not what we want. What we really want is that after going through such a period, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bring us all back to Yerushalayim and the building of the Beis HaMikdash together, that we can have a rikud together in Yerushalayim. Hapanuya b'meiru b'yameinu. Okay, so
Amen.
I don't know how much time we have. Does anybody want to ask questions? Unmute yourself and let's go. I'm listening.
That's a form of her.
It's very quiet. Anyone want to say something? Tell me what.
I have a question for the Mash. Has the Rav Yaakov Olievsky,
Okay, Yaakov, yeah, what do you say?
has the Rav ever seen anything in writing describing a scenario or a reality where Klal Yisrael and Galus would receive Mashiach with a with like a full, genuine zchus? Because I've seen different ideas saying that like all of Klal Yisrael will be meritus to receive Mashiach. I just it's difficult to envision it. Like I can't picture a scenario.
You can't be a scenario where all of Klal Yisrael will see Mashiach.
Not that it was Pasha see Mashiach, but that every single individual would earn it.
I mean, a dor shekulo chayev, a dor shekulo zakai, right?
Mama shekulo zaka, yeah.
Well, if we don't get out of our dalanamas and go out and be makar of people, it's not going to happen. That's true. But
That's a fact.
look, I don't think we have to worry about doing our share. The Kodesh Baruch Hu will give the right things. Somebody just put on a whole list of marmakomos. Who was it? Can you put it on again, please? It's a very good marmakomos over there.
Alex.
Huh?
Alex Galley. Oh, wait.
Yeah, Alex Gelly. Can you put on those marmakomos again? They were very good.
How'd you find that so fast?
But
he's a major Talmud Chacham.
Incredible.
Rebbe, can I ask another Shaila?
yes, please.
I wanted to know if I'm working, my wife's working, not if, we're both working, but the schools are all closed. I'm trying to figure out what are we supposed to do with our kids? How are we supposed to raise them and get without having to, zombie them out with things, they're young kids. How are we supposed to, what are we supposed to do? What does Hashem want for me to do to raise these kids the right way, to give them the best that we can?
So that in Israel, they dafka opened up the schools so that the parents can go to work. Even when they thought that it might be, it's not so good. A lot of kids are coming down with it, and a lot of schools had to close. But they opened the schools, because otherwise the parents wouldn't be able to go to work. I don't know. Get together in your community. Get somebody. Yes. He says, then Guli said that Chuvas Rashbash 195, last paragraph, Beit Elokim, chapter 16. And that's the All right. Get together with people in the community. Someone can make, you'll find if you work hard enough, you'll find someone who will take in a bunch of kids and do things with them so that parents can go to work. You have to go into the community. You have to work hard, but we have people here that suddenly took in 7, 8 kids and made a little gan for them, or taught them a little bit and played with them a little bit in such a way that the parents can go to school and can go to back to work. But other than that, it's I don't know. You have to take care of your children. Yes.
Rebbe, I had a question. You were discussing tefillah and modim, and I'm sure everyone's davening really, really strongly now, and everyone's, I'm sure everyone's davening. But, there comes a point, and I'm speaking for myself personally, where sometimes you feel like a broken horse, like all my tefillahs are going and going and going. Are they going anywhere? Or are we just going through the motions?
When the Stipler passed away, so somebody commented to his son, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Shlita, to Reb Chaim. Someone commented to him, we davened the whole night. We davened the whole night. All our tefillahs was all in vain. Hashem didn't answer us, right? And he looked at him and he said, I think he just spoke. He never speaks without thinking, but I don't know if he wanted to say this, right? He said, what do you mean? There was a terrible gezerah against Klal Yisrael that the tefillahs for my father eradicated the gezerah. There's never a tefillah that goes in vain. Sometimes Hashem answers it right away. Sometimes Hashem answers it 50 years later, 10 years later, right? Sometimes Hashem doesn't use it for what you wanted to use it for. He uses it for something more critical, more important, right? No tefillah is in vain. So you just have to convince yourself, good hashkafa, that your tefillahs are heard by Hashem. And if they didn't answer it, the tefillahs I said at the Kosel today, if it wasn't answered by now, it's still going on, the corona, right? But that tefillah is not lost. It's precious. Everybody's tefillah is precious to Hashem, and maybe he's using it for a greater crisis that we need. Maybe he's using it for bringing Mashiach. We don't know. But we can know that no tefillah is lost. Yes?
Can I ask Rabbi Yossi a question? Yossi, are you expressing that because Pasha, like you go in and out daily in your tefillah and you just don't feel the vigor that you used to feel?
In a sense, I mean, I can tell you, let's say going through this whole corona system, I remember davening out on my porch in the beginning and, a lot of fire and like with tears and everything like that. And now it's kind of like we're coming back into shul and things are like almost back to normal. And it's like, what was this all for?
I feel the exact same way. Absolutely with you.
It's why it's not about it not being answered. It's about there was obviously there's a gezerah in Shemayim and there's a magefa in the world, and it's almost like, and it's not like we didn't forget about it and it's still in front of us, but there's something that inside of us that's saying it's kind of like died down, and you don't have I personally, and I'm only speaking for myself, I don't have that vigor. It's almost like I let it all out, and now I just feel weakened by it.
Unfortunately, I let it get to my head a little bit, and I start telling myself things like, maybe my tefillah is not ruy anymore.
I agree.
I think you have to work on yourself. You have to work on yourselves, right? great experiences in your memory just needs to come out eventually. I think you have to work on yourself. You know, when I go to, once in a while I go to B'nai Yeshivas there and I find a place on the side and so forth, and I daven because you don't have a safe tour outside right now. So when I tell myself, no, there are a lot of people out there that are in pain. A lot of people are ill, right? The corona is still with us, right? Kids are getting sick. You know, I tell myself, I have to daven with all my kaiches, right? And if you think before you start davening, you can probably get that same thing back. You get it back, right? Yeah.
Can Amash elaborate on that? Think before you start davening.
Chasidim Rishonim spent a shah achas before tefillah. They daven for a shah, another hour, and a shah achas afterwards. What do they do before tefillah? What do they do? They thought, I'm going to speak to Hashem. I'm going to be in Hashem's presence. Hashem is listening to me. I should say what I really want to say, and I have to say with all my keiches, right? And I say, take it out of your memories, Alex. Take it out of your memories and live it. don't put it to the memory box. Live it, and you know, and if you take some time thinking of it, we can't spend an hour before our tefillas thinking about what we're going to daven, right? But we can spend a minute or two. You can spend a minute or two thinking that this is what I have to ask Hashem, and Hashem is there for me, and you'll find that there's, right, if you know one or two people, read some stories. There are people that are suffering today. There are people that are gasping for oxygen because of the illness. So daven for them. Daven for them.
Stuck. Go ahead.
Okay.
Again, I think my personal opinion, and again, everybody's different. Everybody sees this all very, very differently. You know, I remember, again, in the beginning of Corona, all the Rebbeim was saying, okay, this is the Ratzon Hashem. I spoke with Rav Steiner, and he told me, Yossi, this is a Ratzon Hashem. Hashem wants you to have a relationship with him. And I kind of like answered him, I don't know if I personally need to work on that. Listen, I grew up without parents. I always knew Hashem is my Av, and I always treated it as such. And when I davened him like, you are my parent. You took away my parent. So I have no, it's you. So even through these davenings, even through this time, this Zman, it was davening with Kavanah, knowing there's a matzah, a magefa, and everything else that's going on in the world, government and whatnot. But it's still, to me, I still have, after all this couple of months, it kind of like faded away to me, and it bothers me a little bit. And it's not about, again, I don't think I'm not working on myself, because I do see tefillah as one of the most important things in the world. That's part of my day. It's part of my life. It's how I function. But it's definitely, I see a lacking, and I personally want to know, is there something else that we should be really working on? Yes, tefillah and our relationship with Hashem, but there's something else that I think we're all missing.
I also spoke of Chesed today, right?
Right.
And in time of Midas Adin, we should work on Chesed also.
Shkayach, Rabbi.
Okay. Again, as Goli says, a very beautiful thing. We all reached a higher level in the past 3 months. We have to try to go back to it and to keep it. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to go in now. It's 9:45 over here, and my wife is waiting for some supper. So,
Rabbi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebbe.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and Hashem, all our tefillah should be answered, and we should find meaning in everything that we do. Have a great day.
You will, Rebbe.
Thank you so much.
Rebbe.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. May,
Let's
how
do
you
more.
doing over there?
Rebbe, let's do more.
I'm happy to hear your voice, Rebbe. I love it. I love it.
I saw your children the other week. That was great.
They love
Masha, Rav Olby's prayer caps. I still try to leave over food from Ali Shore, the one he taught us. Every time I taught my kids, the leaving over. You mentioned supper, so you got to leave over the best.
Where's this guy going, dude?
Piece of bread that you want to do is the one you leave over, huh?
Yeah. You really want to work on yourself, so leave over a little piece of steak.
Working on it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, keep Navek young, keep Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, the Yishuv, keep it all in your feelings, please. That's right.
Always.
Okay, I'm signing off. Take care.
Take care.
Mr. Hashem next week. Mr. Hashem.
Amen.